Hlomu is back in her drinking era. Naledi's in trouble. Qhawe, where are you? Save our girl, please. And Oli's plan is starting to get messy. Hello everybody and welcome to the KMAF channel. This is Kay Kritiques, a segment on this channel where we discuss South African television, and today we are discussing The Wife Season 3, Episode 43 to Episode 48. These past 2 weeks, these past 6 episodes have literally been a building block for next week's episodes because we are approaching the season finale in a couple of weeks. I'm not gonna lie, I actually enjoyed episode 46 to 48 quite a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. It's slow build up, but it's creating that tension that we need, and I'm here for it. Now, Oli and Hlomu's storylines are so interweaved and so intertwined that you cannot speak about one without the other. So with Hlomu now, after the issue of Umtanya's paternity has been resolved, she is now trying to get back into the groove of things. Mqhele is still lusting after Oli child, lusting after his brother's wife. And I'm just like, my brother, like, if there was even an inch or even a bit of me that was still rooting for you, my brother, that went out the window that second. So we kick it off with Mqhele and Oli actually having sex. The title was Mqhele and Oli's explosive sex, but was it explosive? Nah, it was dry as hell. But who cares? It was dry as hell, child. I was like, what is explosive about this? And obviously now Mqhele is hooked because things have been rocky with him and Hlomu. So now obviously Oli wants to Oli's plan is to get the money and transfer it to their accounts, and the only way that she can do that is if she's at the rank working and doing everything. Mqhele decides, no, I am going to get Hlomu to stay at home. She's not going to be going to crime. She's not going to be going to the taxi rank. She can just be a housewife while she sorts herself out because she's an alcoholic, blah, blah, blah. And in my head, I'm just like, Hlomu was an investigative journalist. She was a journalist. She went with a hunch. She wanted to find things out. She wanted to get the story. But her not even questioning, how is it that I'm passing out after one glass of wine? Why is it that I drink a cup of coffee that Oli gives me and I pass out? Like, she's not even curious or even suspicious about that, which isn't true to Hlomu's nature. If you look at Hlomu from season 1, I'm not even talking about the books, I'm talking about Hlomu from season 1, who was curious, who was always asking questions, who was always thinking about things and not just going with anything. And now all of a sudden, she just doesn't question it. She's like, oh well, I passed out after a cup of coffee. That's fine. She's not even questioning it. And I feel like it also has to do with her being so out of sorts and her being broken to a point where she's probably even gaslighting herself into thinking, was it only one glass of wine? Did I have more and I don't remember it? Like, I'm an alcoholic now. And obviously Mqhele also plays into that. So they have this big family meeting where Mqhele sits them down, is like, Oli's going to be taking over the taxi rank. Ulanga and Nuntiga are going to be taking over at Crumbs. You're going to stay at home. You're not going to do anything. I don't want you leaving the house. You're just going to sort yourself out with Dawa and all of that. Even though he smelled the cup of coffee and he could tell that it was only coffee. There was no alcohol in that cup. But anyways, he's like, you Dawa wena manje, uyapuza, I'll say Nkosana, you're not my wife. You're just a drunkard, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, my brother, If you wanna F your sister-in-law, just say that. But don't accuse our girl because she has been trying. And obviously, I wanted Mqhele to be a bit more empathetic towards Hlomu's situation and for him to actually realize that he played a part in her getting to this point, and him apologizing and him being accountable and being there for his wife in this time of need. I was actually pleasantly surprised. Later in the episode, Mqhele does go to Hlomu. Hlomu, this is for your own good. Obviously, crumbs, there's alcohol in the establishment that is going to trigger her. Alcohol is easily accessible to her, and she might even hurt herself in the process, which I understood. And he was actually able to say, okay, I want to book you into rehab. I want you to get help. I want you to get better. We'll fight this together. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, I wish this was the Mqhele who showed up in the hospital. This is the Mqhele that we needed. This soft Mqhele who was gonna say, we'll get through this together. You have an issue, you have a problem, and I understand that this problem is caused by a certain set of circumstances, but I'm gonna stand by you and we're gonna fight this demon together. I'm here for you. And book her into rehab. You do not ask an addict or an alcoholic or whoever if they want to be booked into rehab. Of course they're gonna say no. They're not gonna wanna go to rehab. He should have booked her into the rehab regardless of what she said, but I understood he wanted her to be able to do this at her own pace, in her own way, and he allowed her the freedom to do that. But we later realized that it was actually not a good decision on his part, because Hlomu does then relapse and go back to the alcohol. Let me not jump the gun. We're gonna circle back and we're gonna just backtrack to Qhawe. Qhawe has now gone to the taxi rank. She has the passwords. She transfers 1 million rand to her family's bank account. And I'm like, firstly, which bank is not gonna ask for authorization to transfer millions? So I'm actually asking myself how none of the brothers or even Nkosana himself, none of them received an SMS or even the bank being like, this suspicious behavior going on your bank account. Are you authorizing this 1 million rand payment? And then nobody was even suspicious that all this time the drivers were getting paid on time and there were no issues. All of a sudden when Qhawe takes over, there's glitches in the system. She's not paying drivers are striking, they're causing all this turmoil. And I'm like, the writers are really making the Zulu brothers to be idiots and to be stupid and to be gullible and naive, and I don't like that. Because the Zulu brothers are supposed to be these notorious gangsters who are smart and kill their enemies and do all of this rah rah rah. But then the way they're written to be fools. Which one is it really? Because this is not giving. It's not giving. It's giving they're fools and I should take advantage of them. Period. Do better, stained glass. Hlomu now being at home alone, isolated. You don't have anyone. She barely has any friends now because she cut off some of her friends from the informer. And I feel like it's a thing of now she doesn't trust anybody outside of her family. So she's isolated. She doesn't have anyone around. I forgot how that saying goes about the idle minds. But like when you're sitting doing nothing and you're bored, you're more likely to actually give into your inhibitions and your temptations than you are if you keep busy, if you're doing something, if you're out there and you have people to hold you accountable. Because there's literally a rack of wine bottles just sitting there around an alcoholic, and there's nobody to keep her accountable to say, okay, we have an alcoholic in the house, let us remove any form of alcohol. We don't drink in this house, so that Hlomu doesn't have any temptations and doesn't relapse. But anyway, she goes back to the bottle, she starts drinking, and then obviously I feel like Hlomu, being the strong black woman that she is, an educated woman, she understands that she has an issue, she understands that she has a problem, but it's gotten to a point where she can't help herself. She needs somebody to pull her out of it, but she doesn't know how to ask for help. I think it also has a thing to do with the pride, and it also has a thing to do with the high pedestal that she's been placed on, that she's been this little Miss perfect wife, perfect owner, perfect this, perfect that, perfect daughter. And now all of a sudden, for her to sort of admit that I am not perfect, even though now she's played this role to please people, a role that has been thrust upon her shoulders, causing a strain on her where she can't even speak out and say, I have a problem, I need help. Because now it's like she's admitting, I don't fit into the mold that you've placed me in, and I am not perfect like you've imagined me to be, and I'm letting you down, and she doesn't know how to communicate that I'm not meeting your expectations because I'm not perfect and I don't want to be perfect, I just need help. It also has to do with the resentment towards her husband, because now he's taken basically everything away from her. It's basically like taking away her autonomy and her independence. She decides she's gonna go to Crumbs, it's her restaurant, and obviously when she gets there, she gets a slap in the face where Ulanga's like, your husband said we mustn't allow you in here. Your husband said we mustn't allow you into your own restaurant, and we mustn't give you anything to drink, and embarrassed her in front of people. She goes home, she starts drinking again, and we're gonna see how that plays out, or the consequences, or how that impacts their relationship, because I feel like this issue of alcoholism is gonna be such a big strain on their relationship, because I feel like Mqhele also busy sneaking around with Qhawe, having sex with Qhawe and messing things up. It's not only clouding his judgment, but it's also impacting how he's showing up for Hlomu, because he's not. He's too busy chasing his sister-in-law's skirts in order not focusing on his actual wife, which is sad. I'm a bit disappointed in Mqhele, but what else do we expect from an abusive partner? I'm sure he would rather her be drunk out of her mind so that she doesn't notice his infidelity. And I also just feel like maybe Mqhele is also cheating with Qhawe, as much as it's gonna hurt Sambulo, but he's doing it to get back at Hlomu. Now we're even type of a thing. The situation has gotten so out of control and it's so toxic. It's a bit painful to see, and then for them to just go down this rabbit hole of toxicity, this abyss of just violence and darkness. It's actually quite sad. But anyways, Qhawe not paying the drivers has an impact where the drivers start striking, and Qhawe goes ahead and burns the taxis ZakwaZulu. The Zulu brothers think that it's the drivers and they go off and kill them. Well, Qhawe tries to stand up for them, like they're innocent, they didn't do this, look at them. And then obviously Mqhele starts getting suspicious and is like, take their lives right now, otherwise I'm gonna think that you are the one responsible for all of this. And Qhawe decides to shoot them, and then suspicion is off of her, which I'm just like, it just gave me the ick because of how the Zulu brothers are being written. Like, they never ever notice dodgy things happening around them or people betraying them right under their noses. But anyways, Naledi has not been the meat and potatoes of these following episodes, whereas this is her season, but we barely got to see her. But it starts picking up in the latter part of the episodes. So Naledi does find out that she is pregnant. She goes to Qhawe to talk to him, saying, stop sending me messages, stop sending me necklaces, stop calling me, stop stalking me. And Qhawe's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and I don't think that you should be smoking while you're pregnant, blah blah blah. She discovers that she's pregnant. Apparently she's 4.5 months along. She lies to Sefako. Obviously, Sefako assumes that it's his baby. Continuity in the show doesn't exist. You don't know whether or not it's the following day or the following week. You just see things happening and it's like unexplainable. You can't keep track of a proper timeline. So I don't know if the day that Naledi jumps out of the bed, runs away from Usefako and says it's that time of the month, was it the previous day or the previous week? Sefako discovers that Naledi is pregnant and he's happy. But just the other day, she was saying that she's on her period. And that didn't even raise his eyebrow for him to be suspicious. You know what? One thing about this show, you know what? I don't get some of the writing. Like, he didn't even question, is it my child? Or how far along are you pregnant? He was just happy, ecstatic. But that is exactly how I would want my partner to react if I was pregnant. She then goes to inform Qhawe that I am pregnant and I miss you. I want to be with you, but I'm married. What are we going to do? And obviously Qhawe's like, go tell your family. I'm not going to tell you how you're going to explain this to your family or what you're going to do. But one thing I do know is that I want to be with you and I want to be there for you and my baby because you guys are important to me. So you need to figure your out. I'm not going to be the one to tell you what to do because I don't want to seem controlling to you, which I loved because they did communicate that. Naledi has said that I want to be independent. I don't want to be controlled. I was controlled in my previous relationship with my ex, who we're going to get to in a second, which is what I appreciate with this couple, that they're able to just communicate. Well, some things they're able to communicate. Some things, Naledi, let me not even get started on my girl Naledi, okay? Naledi goes to work. On the other hand, Naledi's ex has been coming around the hospital, pretended to be a police officer to get treatment, obviously to see Naledi. He's been stalking her and he holds her hostage and kidnaps her, gives her tranquilizer and chloroform, then makes her fall asleep, takes her to this abandoned building where he keeps her. Obviously, he didn't know that she's pregnant. He's a psycho, and that's all I'm gonna say because there's not really much to say. He was just going on and on. You were supposed to wait for me, blah 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 blah. While I was in jail, you let another man touch you. I'm your wife, blah blah blah. Like, it was a whole mess, but like, honestly, like, that storyline is not giving at all. Like, it's not giving to me. You know what? Let me move on. Teti, now, while she was in her bouts of madness, which I still feel like she's pretending to be mad, or she was pretending to be mad, she goes to the Zulu mansion. She's like, Qhawe, you killed my husband. I'm here with a knife. She wants to stab him. Qhawe obviously shows her the footage. They sort out their issues, and Teti realizes that, okay, this guy that is my father is the devil, and he's the one who orchestrated all of this. Goes back. Ukhosi figures out that she went to the Zulu mansion, but when Teti comes back, she doesn't say anything. And Teti's been really supportive of Naledi, but I'm thinking that it's just an act, and she's gathering the intel, and she's gonna drop the bomb to Sefako that Naledi is pregnant with Qhawe's baby instead of Sefako, just to cause drama between the two and get Sefako to divorce Naledi or leave Naledi. But anyways, we're gonna see what happens with Teti. Another thing that did happen was we saw that Ngcobo is kind of getting a little bit more than bloodthirsty, gun crazy, trigger happy, and he's out of control. They confiscated his guns. I can't wait to see how that is going to play out in the following episodes, even though it's almost the season finale and the wife is coming to an end. I wish they would have developed Ngcobo's storyline from season 2 up until now, because it feels like something that should have been developing, that should be unraveling right now, but it's not. It's still in the building stages. Like, you're almost at the end of the series. Are you gonna try and squeeze this in at the end? Like, what are gonna be the repercussions of that? But we didn't get any of that. and Nkcole obviously is having a rift with her mother because her mother has been going on a shopping spree. So since they got the money, first of all, the mother's raising suspicions. Second of all, this money is supposed to tide them over or help them to build something more, but she's squandering it. And I feel like that is going to build a resentment where Nkcole ends up betraying the mother. Yeah, guys, that was the wife for the past 2 weeks, episode 43 to 48. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Please do comment down below what was your favorite episode, or what was your favorite scene, or what was your favorite storyline these past 2 weeks. Like, comment, subscribe, click that notification bell so that you are notified every single time I upload a new video on this segment. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.